reminder that p is positive and n is negative. And remember, before we go on to subtraction, adding integers involves different signs, which, as we spoke about yesterday, it's like moving backwards and forwards on a number line. So that's why sometimes it appears that we add them, and sometimes it appears that we subtract them, okay? Keep that straight. Those rules are for when you have plus signs in between your two numbers, right? So what we're going to do is, in subtraction problems, what, Ryan? Yes. There's something called, it's actually a property. Let me write it first. That's what it looks like as a property. When you ever hear property names, and actually, I don't know, Kayla, on that poster next to you, is there variables or are they mostly number examples?
And what?
On those properties? Is there variables in them? Like the first line?
And that one, oh yeah.
Okay, so my point is, when you see a property, it's usually in terms of variables, because that means you can plug in any number and it's still gonna follow this pattern, okay? What do you think this property of the definition of subtraction means? If you look at that, what do you think it means? John,
Yeah.
what? You had an idea and then you talked yourself out of it?
I didn't call myself on it.
Then tell me what you're thinking. This equals this.
Well, what I was thinking was subtraction. If you're subtracting one number, in addition column, that one number that you subtracted is negative.
Okay, a little specific until the last word. You said it's negative. How about if I say it's opposite? Okay, so what this means is subtracting a number is the same as adding its opposite. So that's a property, and if you think about it, back to that number line. I'm going to draw the number line and then I'm going to erase it. Let's not do that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if I'm on 1 and I subtract 1, I'm going that way, right? And I get 0. If I'm on 1 and I add -1, this negative makes me go back this way anyway, and I still get 0. So if I am talking about any numbers, 7 minus 3, that's the same as 7 plus -3. So now, also think back to those rules we looked at yesterday. If I had this problem, 7 plus -3, the signs are different, I subtract, take the sign of the bigger number, I get 4. Well, that's what I got here, okay? So any subtraction problem is technically an addition problem. Brian?
Can I sharpen your pencil?
Yeah, I thought, I said, yeah. Oh, it broke again? So, in subtraction, here's the rule. Boy, that's annoying. Pop back up, I'll fix it. Write that first, and then we'll talk about it. Here's some various examples. Well, can I draw your attention to one that looks like that? Do you know what 8 minus 4 is?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Don't go through this process just because you're in the groove of doing it. If you see something like 8 minus 4, a bigger number minus a smaller number, just, it's 4, right? So if I have a bigger positive minus a smaller positive, we're not gonna do anything, we're just gonna answer it, okay? If you changed it and went through this, you get the same answer, but I suggest you do this. All right, let's say we have it opposite. Does it make sense that if 12 minus 9 is 3, then 9 minus 12 should be the opposite? Does that make sense, kinda? If it doesn't, what's a bad color to use? If it doesn't, let's go to the fact that if I changed the minus to a plus, and I change the sign of the next number, I see the problem 9 plus negative 12. And if I go back to the rules of addition, 9 plus negative 12 says, if the signs are different, I subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. So 9 plus negative 12, subtract 3, take the sign of the bigger number, which is non-negative. Okay? Negative 3 minus 1. Change the minus to a plus. Change the sign of the next number. So negative 3 minus 1 is the same as negative 3 plus negative 1. Signs are now the same. Add and keep the sign. Okay, so it's not like we're using a whole new set of rules. We're not. We're using the same ones we used on how you did so well on your homework. But when we have a subtraction problem, instead of learning a new set of rules, we're just going to change it to an addition one. So you notice there's nothing said about the first number. First number stays the same all the time. So we're going to keep this the same. Negative 6 minus negative 2 is the same as plus positive 2. So like this example, John, is the only one I see so far that what I was talking about. Instead of saying changes to the negative, it changes to the opposite. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I have negative 6 and positive 2. Signs are different. Subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. Make sense? Kayla?
I thought you were adding.
Say it again?
I thought we were adding negative 6 plus 2.
It does say negative 6 plus 2, but remember, negative 6 plus 2, the signs are different. So you subtract those values and take the sign of the bigger number.
Oh, if the signs are different, you always subtract?
Yes,
Okay.
if there's a plus sign between them. That's why we're changing all of these to addition problems so we can use that rule. Okay? There's no separate rule for subtraction. except to change it to an addition problem. Okay, so what, bless you, what you need to see is, in general, subtracting is the same as an opposite. It's subtraction is the same as a negative movement, I guess is a good way to say it, right?
Can you go back to the first one?
Sure. Let me put more examples up there. 5 minus negative 6. See, if I was on another line, if I'm on number 5, minus makes me go this way, but negative makes me go the opposite way. So if I go 6 in the opposite direction, minus changes to a plus, 6 changes to positive, I'm actually gonna end up on 11. Okay. Negative 4 minus 3. Leave this one alone, this changes to plus, this one changes to the opposite. I don't know why its board is so temperamental today, it's really racing a lot, and I get negative 7. See, isn't that good? It's kind of comforting to know that, okay, I got those addition rules down pretty well. So before I start an addition problem, I have to visualize, subtraction problem, I gotta visualize that it's what it looks like as addition, and I just use those rules. Jayla?
I always have to look at my notes, like,
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
You're gonna learn them, I promise. You're gonna be so good at it, you won't have to look at your notes. But you know what I'm liking? That you're looking at them and not saying, I think I know. 'Cause that's what a lot of people do, and then they get it wrong, so. Nothing wrong with that. That's why taking good notes is important. Okay, does anybody need a different slide or anything like that? Okay. So, let's see if we have some subtraction problems. Now, like, I think it was Brady asked yesterday, why the heck are there parentheses around things? I don't know. It's annoying to me too, but math books have just always done that. So on some of these cards, I have parentheses, some of them I don't, just so you can get used to them. Quite honestly, the more parentheses you see, it almost confuses me, but, Alright. Ryan, I'll start with you. Can I turn this off? Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I don't need to turn it off. I'll leave those up there. So this says -9 minus 7.
So what, is it positive 7?
So, yes, so -9 minus 7 is the same as -9 plus -7,
Yeah.
which is,
-16.
yes, can you write these down?
And what,
-9 minus 7. And just like yesterday, I would like you to answer as we go and see how you're doing, see if you get them right. And Ryan said, if you missed it, -9 stays the same, this changes to a plus. This becomes -7, so -9 plus -7 is -16, okay? Okay, Brady, 3 minus 7.
I said 3.
3 minus 7.
Change from 7 to a negative, change from 5 to a plus, and then say
3 plus -7 would be,
-4.
yes. So did you hear the way he talked through that? That was good. Also, this is one of those where they're both positive numbers, but I'm taking the smaller minus the bigger. So if I know 7 minus 3 is 4, 3 minus 7 is -4. Okay? Okay, Emma, -10 minus 3.
that'd be -15, right?
You are correct. So -10 minus 3 is the same as plus -3. So -10 plus -3 is -13. Okay, how are we feeling after the first 3? Making sense?
Yeah.
-10 minus 3. Okay, Kayla, 0 minus 7.
-7.
Right, so 0,